mic right now. So let me go ahead and fix that. We'll get it fixed. This happened yesterday too. We had the mic issues. Still giving me problems. Wow, right off the bat. Well, good thing it's happening now and not midway through the live stream. We can get things all sorted. Looks like we're all set now. Welcome on into the live stream. It's a Saturday. Hopefully everyone's having a solid start to their weekend. Hopefully everyone had a solid day today for Showdown. For me, pretty much right at break even, but I had a lineup in the top 10 for a little bit, even a lineup in the top 5 for the last half hour or so. Ended up falling with a few guys making bogeys, a few guys missing birdies on their last few holes. So it could have been really nice, but I know a few others down in the Discord. I had a few other close calls towards the top of GPPs. So I would say a relatively successful day on that side. And then over there in props, made a little bit of money on prize picks and had right about a break-even day on Underdog. So it was kind of uneventful, right? No takedowns, at least that I know of as of yet. But a lot of people that were just grinding out some profit. So sounds like a good day at PGA DFS. We've got MAGA down here, who ended up finishing at second place in the community contest. Believe it or not, that'll be one of the first things we get into. So first off, congrats about that. And yeah, you're ready for tomorrow, and you hope that Bradley chokes it. I'll be right there with you. We'll definitely talk a lot more about Bradley later. Let's go. We've got Bobby down there doing his thing as per usual. Bruce Leroy with, have you heard? The bird is the word out there. We've seen. What is going on? I see these little black flashes on my screen. If that's happening on your end too, go ahead and let me know. But yeah, bird's the word, right? Lots of birdies being made out there. What's going on, Mark? What's going on? Jack says, Denny McCarthy retreated quicker than the Wagner group today. Yeah, I saw lots of world news going on. Luckily, I'm not huge about politics, world news, that sort of thing. Have a lot of golf to go ahead and distract me from it. So, but yeah, I did see some of this stuff over there on Twitter. The Discord is, if you message me on Patreon, I'll send you a little link. I used to have it set up automated where if you join the Patreon, it would automatically send you an invite. But after about like 50, 60 people used the link, it broke. It was like impossible to fix that bot. So yeah, message me and I can invite you. So let's hop into this golf course. Let's go through today's results. We're in the round 3 stream. Round 2 lineup, first off, down there in chat, right? This was Chris Halley here. So Chris made $32, had a pretty solid lineup. What your worst player shot -1, right? Everyone else was -4 or better. Good stuff. JK took it down with 343 points. That is impressive in its own right there. But pretty solid lineup to boot, right? Your worst player was -3. You had the -sign from Cantlay, which a ton of us in this contest had. Let's see, a JT -8, right? We called that. That was chalk that we were eating. The Callum Turan value play. The Auburn real cheap 7K option paid off for us for today. Oh, yeah, all these guys were in our player pool today. So well done, JK. You got the right combination for our community contest. But no one that was too crazy, right? Even Turan was 12% owned. Now, he was closer to 3% owned in the large field GPP. The $5 GPP that I was in, I think he was like 2.8% owned. So this 12% mark was undoubtedly because I talked him up yesterday, right? Undoubtedly because he was in my player pool. But still nicely done, right? Especially if this was in any other contest but my contest. See, Roll Tider finished in 3rd, okay. Another lineup with Cantlay, right? Not really a surprise. He had one of the best rounds of the day. No Ricky Fowler here, though. Next lineup had Scotty. Matsuyama had himself today. Same thing with Corey Connors, who was in my lineup. You had Matt there. Uzi Beats, our winner from the first ever Showdown contest. Went out there, said, you know what? I'm going to cash 2 times in a row. Went out there, finished in 6th place, his second ever time in this contest. You had Matt there, Bryson, Dr. Rico. I know watches a lot of the content in there. And I finished just outside the cash. So out of the 48 entries, I finished in 18th. The cash line was 15th. So I was 3 entries off of it. And it was almost entirely because of Tom Kim. I know Bobby was talking about the second half sell for Tom Kim out there. It got me too, man. Not only for props, it also got me over here for the DFS side. A guy went out there, completely sold me for my single entry lineup. So that kind of sucked. It took me out of the cash in some of my other single entry lineups as well. So that just kind of hurt across the board, right? Because what I had Cantley in there who went for a nuclear round. Tony Finau had a pretty solid day himself. You had Adam Scott, Tom Hoagie. Hoagie maybe not the best round, right? Just -2, but List right made 5 birdies, 6 birdies for an Adam Scott. It probably should have been a min cash kind of lineup. So congrats to everyone that cashed. Look at this, LSU Nick, obviously a regular in the chat. He finished in 20 seconds, so solid lineup, but just outside of the cash. These guys that finished in the top 5, anyone that scored 330 plus points in this fantasy contest did a really good job. And look at that. The difference between 5th and 3rd was less than 6 points. And it's not like JK went out there and ran away with this contest, right? He had 343, a really respectable number there, but nothing that was too outlandish. So good stuff. If you want to join in for round 4, I'm going to throw a link down in the live chat right now, but there is one down in the description. So you can use either link down there and do so. It's $5 entry. Same thing. There's 100 spots. It might not fill for these first few weeks, but obviously as we try to grow it, we're going to do so. We're going to review it every single time. In terms of lineups, if you want yours looked at and kind of like broken down, go ahead and let me know. I'm going to go ahead and break down this top level lineup, right? All of these guys were in my player pool. The one thing I'd say, right, is I guess in this contest, it looks a little bit more chalky than it would have been, because if Turan was 3% owned, like he was in most contests, Auberg was much lower owned in most GBPs. Same thing with like a Sungjae Im and a Tony Finau. This lineup would be perfect, right? It would have a low enough product ownership to get the job done. It's just because all of these guys were in my player pool that it looks like it's a little bit more chalky than it is. So JK, I think this would have worked across any different lineups. I know you're down there in chat there, Chris, so go ahead and look at yours. Very similar, right? You had, I would say, more than enough pivots, right? Herbert, Hall were pretty solid ownership pivots to get to. And even though you took the double buy-up approach, right, 2 chalky players, from a lineup construction perspective, you were very different than the rest of the field. So I'll go over those 2 lineups. If anyone wants me to circle back and look at their lineups, feel free to go ahead and let me know. As per usual, we usually do these on our weekend review streams. So it's the same idea there. So let's go ahead, hop into the golf course. Today, it played even easier than what we saw for round 2. If we account for the talent gap difference, if we account for the fact that some of the lower tier players were cut after Friday, the course probably played pretty similar to what we saw there for the second round, right, where it played the 1.8 under. It was only about 0.38 shots easier. So a lot of that could have been accounted for the talent gap difference. But it was low winds. We had the rains early in the day. In fact, pretty much until Ricky Fowler finished his first hole, we had heavy rain in the area, which was, he was the second group out, right? So it was extremely early in play with the rain stopped. Tomorrow, it doesn't look like it's going to be very sunny. We look at a lot of these forecasts. It's calling for like partly cloudy conditions for at least the first half, sometimes even the first 2/3 of the day. And then you also have relatively low winds. In the morning, next to no wind. In the afternoon, it creeps up to like 7 to 10 miles an hour. And that's going to be pretty much ideal conditions like we saw today, right? Scoring average was 2.2 under par with Sunday pins, which might be a little bit more difficult, right? The par 4 15th, the drivable par 4, probably not going to play as easy as what we saw today. Maybe a few other pins that were in bowls here for round 3 won't be in bowls there for Sunday, but you're still going to see an easy scoring average. I would say something between this 1.8 under par and something in between this 2.18 under par scoring averages. And given that you're going to have those dark kind of greens out there, your birdie or better average is probably going to be slightly lower than what you saw today, but still higher than what you saw there for round 2. So the birdie or better average that was over 4 for round 2. Expect to see something at least that good for Sunday. So that'll be important to look at when we're looking at the Sunday pins. But if we're looking for an edge, right, trying to play that for Sunday Showdown, it's looking like a marginal AM advantage, right? So for guys going off in let's say the first 3, maybe 3.5 hours of tee times, it looks like they're going to be playing in slightly lower winds in the afternoon. It's going to be a little bit cooler, right? That may actually work against them a little bit there. We've got the pristine greens to work with. They've got more receptive greens, slightly lower winds. All of that, I would say, gives them a slight advantage. I don't think it's going to be massive, right? We take a look at a couple other models, right? They are calling for that split between the morning and the afternoon. Let's look at this ECM model over here. You'll see the same kind of thing. GFS, same thing. Icon, same thing, right? So they're pretty much all in agreement tomorrow, maybe to different degrees of separation there, but you're going to see a slight advantage to the guys that are teeing off in the first half of tee time. So we'll go through that here in a second. It's not all about just who is in the better conditions. Of course, there's placement points for Sunday. There's a few other dynamics that we've got to work with there. But if you're just looking at the pure conditions perspective here for Sunday, and you were just taking people in a vacuum, right? Not worrying about anything else. The guys in the morning are going to be the players with probably the best conditions. Let's go ahead, bring up our DFS projections. We'll catch up on chat as well. And then talk through our general strategy, which kind of ties into the weather there, right? The AM guys playing maybe in a slightly better golf course. That's going to tie into what we're doing here on Sunday. Let's see what's going on. What's going on, Mark? Jonathan? We got Denny who says, Denny McCarthy retreated quicker than the Wagner group. Yeah, I think I caught that one earlier. That's right. I'm a little bit behind on chat there. I thought that was funny. My mic keeps cutting out. Yeah, I know. It's annoying. Do I like Keegan Bradley since working with Jack? I'm not even going to say the last one. That's funny. I think Keegan Bradley's playing well, though. Martin says, big Keegan Ches fan tomorrow. Yeah, Martin's got an outright on both. So that's a pretty sick sweat that you've got there. I got to say, right, they've got at least 60, probably 70% of the win equity, but the 80-85% that Data Golf has them at, I think might be a little bit ludicrous. Did you get kicked out of the Discord? You might have got kicked out. You might have left it on your end, something like that. I've had people that have had that issue before. Just send me a message. We'll get it figured out for you. In terms of DFS, we're looking at trying to target some of the guys up top. Right, placement points are a part of the picture. If you've never played Sunday Showdown before, if you're new to DFS, for rounds 1 through 3, you don't worry about placement points, right? It's just about how you do on those 18 holes. For Sunday Showdown, it's the same kind of scoring, but you get a bonus based on where you finish, right? So for Sunday Showdown, rather than just looking at a player's upside, a player's raw projection, you've got to consider where they're starting on the board. The unfortunate part about that is that most people, and I'm not going to say everyone because there's quite a few slapdicks out there that don't know about the placement points, but most people that are playing Sunday Showdown, right, know about that, right, and account for it. And what I'll say is usually over account for it. When you look at ownership projections, if you've played Sunday Showdown for quite some time, you know that ownership tends to get really polarized. It tends to get extremely congregated around the same sorts of players. And if those kind of guys aren't just slam dunks to go out there and succeed. And really in DFS, there's never really any slam dunk plays to go out there and succeed. If you fade them, you're going to have a long-term plus EV strategy for playing these sort of contests. So we'll go through some of the chalk. We'll sort this by ownership like we did here the other day, but you'll see that it's almost entirely based on the leaderboard. Round 2, round 3, right? We talked about people liking to back some of those really good performances. You'll see that same kind of effect, but it's even more so pronounced, right, for round 4 Showdown, right? It's, there's a trend there in round 2, round 3, but it gets a little bit out of hand here for the final round. So let me go ahead, sort it here, just give you guys an idea of what we're talking about. There's a loud squeaking sound outside. No idea what that is, so hopefully that cuts out soon. One of my neighbors maybe has like a tea kettle on or something. It's a little obnoxious. But let's go ahead, scroll to the top here. You can see I have Keegan Bradley, right, as our highest owned player for this slate at 35.5% ownership, which is a little bit outrageous. I guess I understand it, right? People like playing the guys at the top. Ches Reavie, right, 1 stroke back. I have got at 30.7%, and they're very likely to finish in the top 5, right? They're probably going to shoot at least 1, 2, maybe even like 3 or 4 under par tomorrow, but that doesn't mean they're going to be optimal for the large field GPP. I'll remind you, your winner gets 13 points, right? The difference between second and then I believe it's like 12th or even 15th place on the leaderboard is less than one birdie when it comes to placement points. So unless you're getting the stone cold winner, right, the guy that's getting that 13 points, it doesn't really matter where you finish, right? If you're finishing in the top 10, it's pretty much the same as you finishing in second, right? You need the players, especially at a birdie fest like what we have here at TPC River Highlands, that go out there and make 6-7 birdies, right? A birdie's worth over 5 fantasy points when it comes to the single round slate. Again, first place is 13 fantasy points, right? Second place is 9 fantasy points. When you're going out there, that's less than 2 birdies, right? And even for 10th place, you're still getting like, I think it's like 4.75, like 5 fantasy points for something right around like 10th place. There's hardly a difference out there. So what I prefer is avoiding the mega chalk, right? Especially when it's like a Ches Reavie or a Keegan Bradley, right? A player that's not really all that proven. If it's like a Scotty Scheffler, if it's a Rory, if it's a Cantlay, right? One of those top end talents, I don't really mind it, right? Especially if they're out there in contention, right? We expect that week in and week out. When it's somebody that hasn't been there before, that's when you have to start questioning it. So you'll see like Minwoo I'm fading, Brian Harman, Denny McCarthy, right? Some of these lower tier players. The guys I'm playing, Ricky, Cantlay, JT, right? JT has not only, gone out there round 2 and killed it, he backed it up out there today. If I'm going to play chalk for round 4 showdown, it's players that are studs, guys that are mispriced, right? Like a Justin Thomas, a Ricky Fowler at $9,200. That's probably a little bit too cheap. And a stud like Scotty, a stud like Patrick Cantlay, a little bit harder to fit into lineups, but definitely in my player pool. And just because I have these guys in my player pool, right, don't get me wrong, right? Let's go ahead and sort this just by price once again. It's not like I'm only playing chalk. I'm only going to play 1-2 of those guys at most in pretty much every lineup I'm playing. So let's say I'm starting with a Patrick Cantlay, right? Let's say I really want to play Hideki Matsuyama. Let's say he's like a must play for me here in round 4 showdown. If he's a must play in that lineup for me, my second man in, right, going up a little bit more expensive, wouldn't be a Ricky Fowler, right? I wouldn't make it 3 super chalky players to start. I would force in a pivot. So, right, whether it's going up there, being aggressive, taking a Victor Hovland, or whether it's taking a Matt Fitzpatrick, right, that's only going to be 6.1% owned, there's going to be some sort of forced differentiation in my lineups that gets me to at least not a duplicate with other people, but also gets me the leverage I need in those large field contests too. So up top, there's definitely some chalk that I'm taking. But like you saw in that 7K range, that 6K range, there's almost no one I'm taking that's towards the top of the ownership board. So up top is where I have to make some of those decisions. Every lineup's going to have at least one forced pivot. If I'm trying to pivot in this 11K range, this 10K range, Rory's my guy there. I don't hate Victor, right? Victor tends to make a lot of birdies on Sunday when he's out of contention, which is kind of the case here. Sahith Theegala loves this golf course, makes a ton of birdies even on really bad rounds. Let's see, we've got Tom Kim. You can never go back to him after him having a bad day, right? A ton of people are disappointed based on what he played today. I got him at 5.5%. Those are the spots I'm trying to pivot at, right? And these pivots, because they're low owned, I don't have to play them as much, right? A majority of my lineups are going to be cores around, some of my pillars. And my pillars for tomorrow, right? Some of the chalk, and a pillar, by the way, is a chalky piece that I'm building a lot of lineups around for my Sunday showdown. Kind of like core plays for me out there would be a Scotty. It would be a Patrick Cantlay, Ricky Fowler. Let's see, where's it at? Hideki Matsuyama, I suppose, right? 21% owned. JT would be a pillar for me. And Ludwig Auberg, the amateur down there at $7,400. Outside of that, I'm not playing much chalk, right? Everyone else is pretty much 10% owned or less. And honestly, the guys that I'm taking, I think are mispriced. Like Auberg, I told you guys, he's a 9K golfer. Yesterday, right, I told you before the round, he's going to go out there and smash. This kid is not a $7,300 golfer. He shot like -9 today or something like that, something crazy. He's going to go out there and he's going to smash again tomorrow. He might even get up there into the top 3, top 5 of this golf tournament. So 22%, okay, I'll still play that. Justin Thomas, once again, right, he's gone out there 2 straight days, absolutely smashed. He's 29% owned. Okay, he's $7,900. I get that. I get why he's chalk, right? He's also in contention, has a really good chance to maybe even win the golf tournament. I'll play that kind of chalk, right? What I won't play are the Denny McCarthy slapdicks of the world, right? That nearly won the Memorial, and people now think he's like God. The guy, like, he's been around forever, is not that good. Keegan Bradley, perennial choker, right? Not playing his ass. Adam Scott, I actually kind of wish I could play. He was one of my first cuts, so I won't talk shit there. Same thing with Sanjay, right? He was another one of those like first kind of cuts. But let's see, Ches Reavy, right? We'll throw him into that. Like, I don't want to talk too much shit about these kind of players, right? Minwoo Lee, right? 24.9% owned too. Brian Harmon, 24.8% owned. Like, no, thank you. Like, these sort of guys are average players on tours at best. And, you know, when it's going to be birdie fest like we have for Sunday Showdown, right? I'm not saying these guys can't win the golf tournament, right? But when we're trying to handicap it, look at it for Sunday Showdown, these kind of guys have no chance against guys that are just severely mispriced around them and at lower ownership numbers. They get beat by one birdie, it won't matter, right? If they finish like T15 or T20 rather than like T13 compared to some of those chalky players, that T23, right? Them going from like the bottom of the board to like nearly top 25 is going to be them making like 6-7 birdies compared to those shitters making like 4 or 5, right? That 2 birdie difference is more than makes up for the difference in placement points. That's the idea that I'm trying to get out there and hammer home here is, you know, these these projected points over here, they matter, but they're not the end all be all. Let's see. Carl says, what's up, Luke? Had a huge day deep sea fishing out of Port Orange. That's cool. What were you fishing for? What kind of, do you get mahi out of there? Port Orange out there? But Port Orange is Gulf side, right? I honestly don't know. It's not, I know it's down here in Florida. I've seen it before, Carl. If you're a port side, may have been mahi, might not have been. I know if you were east side, it was most certainly mahi that you were catching. Enlighten me. Would love to know, man. You're feeling about BDR hitting the 69 tomorrow. Yeah, what, 69 would only be 1 under par? Oh, you're saying not on the golf course? Say 69 strokes would be pretty weak, huh? Right? It's a par 70, right? 1 under par, probably not getting it done. I get what you're saying, though. You're saying not on the golf course. You're funny. This guy. Let's see. What do we got? LPGA board up. Really? Really? I never thought I'd see it. Did they actually? They do. Look at that. Now I can see. I don't know what's going on, guys. My stream's going crazy today. Something with StreamYard, I think. Hopefully you can see me and hear me. Yeah, it's Eastside. It's probably mahi, right? Mangrove snapper. So you were fishing like inlets, right? It's by Daytona. So if you're getting mangrove snapper, that means they're either in like an intercoastal or you were fishing along the shore, right? Because I'm assuming mangrove snapper, right? Mangroves are over there in the inlands. Who talked golfers then? Let's see. Like Rory, Victor, Sahith, Matt Fitzpatrick. Like pretty much anyone that's not at the top of the leaderboard is going to be a non-chalk golfer. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, Chase. It's when I was trying to set up for the stream, there was a lot of weird stuff happening. I saw it on my end. It like said red in the corner. It said the camera died. I have no idea what's going on. I'm muted now. Can you not? Oh my God. Can you hear? It looks like it's working on mine. Hopefully it fixed. Because you sent that a minute ago. Hopefully it's not an issue anymore. It looks like it's working on my end. All right, let me go ahead, bring up Safari. Jeez Louise. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Let's take a look at some of the lineup construction stuff over there in DraftKings. And then afterwards, we're going to go through some of the prop stuff too. Sweet. Jeez Louise. Yeah, someone said it was muted. I was like, oh boy. Any 6K guys? Yeah, I'm playing some 6K guys this week. You can check out who I'm playing on Patreon, but there's not much. Let's see. Of technically 6K golfers, I have 2 in my player pool. So not much, right? And they're at the top of the 6K range. So Hopefully it gives you an idea. I'm playing a lot more in the 7s. There are some lower 7K options I think that are pretty decent. But yeah, nothing in like the lower 6s, if that's your question there. It's cool. You got rocked by Cam Young and Keegan. Yeah, I didn't play Keegan today, that's for sure. I was on Cam Young, though, so I can feel you there, Jose. He looks like he's just broken. The thing is, every time we say that, every time we're like pissed off at a player, they go out there and they smash. So am I playing X or Rory? I'm playing Rory. I'm not playing X. Doug Gim, let me take a look at his shots gained. I mean, it comes down to how he's hitting the ball tee to green for me. He's typically really good tee to green, but let's see how it's gone. Pretty solid today. Pretty solid round 2. And round 1, maybe not the best round, but that was his worst out of the 3. So I don't know. I don't hate it. What's the ownership? I guess that's the real, determining factor here. Is I know the price tags come up because of how he's played, right? He's been consistently in contention in the top 25 over the first 3 rounds. I have him in my player pool. I only have him at 8.7%. So I like it. The ball striking numbers, right? Even if he was more chalky, right? Even if I think he was like 10, 15% owned, I think it'd still be there because the ball striking metrics are pretty consistent, pretty repeatable, we'll say, pretty sustainable for somebody like a Doug Gim out there. So I don't hate it at all. So let's go through some of our cash plays. Unlike yesterday, this is a much better slate to go out there and play cash. If I was playing cash, right, you got to play the top of the board, right? This is how it works, right? Those placement points that don't really matter for GPPs matter a whole lot for cash because you only need to beat half the field. So I love Cantlay for cash, love Ricky Fowler for cash, and I would probably throw like JT into that. And you're going to need at least one more like value tier play down here. Let's throw Auburn into that too. This would probably be my core 4 for cash. I would take, a 10, a 9, 2 guys in the 7K range. And you can round it off with probably another 8, probably another 7K option, or just 2 7s. It's, a real simple build. You're not going down into the 6s. I think that's too much for a Sunday kind of showdown. And like I said, the placement points, they matter for cash, right? So if I'm in cash, those 4, I'm trying to jam into lineups. In GPPs, though, right, kind of like I was mentioning before, we have to think about our ownership, right? If I want to start with a Cantlay, if I want to make my second man in a Ricky Fowler, let's say I really like these 2 as core pieces of my lineup, I can't take my third man in as a super chalky Matsuyama, right? If I'm taking 2, 3 players are going to be 25, 30% owned, that's going to be really tough to manage in this kind of contest, right? Where there's nearly 12,000 entries. So I've got to make some sort of pivot. So up here in the 9K range, it's where I like getting to a Hovland, right? A Hovland going to be sub 10% owned. So if I want to go down here and add a Matsuyama, I have 3 guys that I think are all still real quality plays, but I have that one pivot that I can get to. With the rest of my lineup, right, we still got to think about ownership a little bit. We want to throw in like maybe a Steven Yeager as a little bit of, ownership savings, salary savings. We want to throw in down here. Who was the 9? Like a Nick Hardy into this kind of lineup. You can make it work in that kind of fashion too. So there are clearly enough ways to differentiate, right? Just, you can take chalk, you can take 1, 2, maybe even 3 players that are going to be 15, 20% plus owned. You just have to also mix in a few guys that are going to be sub 5, sub 10% owned for some of those studs. How many lineups am I playing Keegan in? 0. We'll be in 0 of my lineups, Jason. Literally 0%. Tom Kim and Sahith crushed you on prize picks today. Yeah, I took both of them over there too. They got me, but that's just Ben, man. That's going to happen. A lot of other guys hit, right? A lot of other guys at 4.5 ended up hitting. So you tend to remember the guys that miss, but is what it is. It's easy to hold grudges against them. Usually not the plus EV strategy, though. LPGA board seems odd. 3.5 birdies, but strokes is everyone +1 or more. They don't make that many bogeys. That's interesting. I didn't even see the strokes board, honestly. It's a par 70. Oh, boy. I guess we have a lot of data to go off of, right? So I know there's been a lot of rain in the area. They've had a little bit of backups and stuff, Chase. We'll take a look at the leaderboard. That intrigues me, especially because I don't know. They haven't posted a PGA board yet. Sometimes when they have multiple different tournaments up, you can mix them and get rid of the multiplier. That intrigues me a lot, especially if we can find an edge for the LPGA. Chase, if you can do some research on this, because we're going to have some time until we get over there to looking at that kind of board. If you do it again. All right. Hopefully you can hear me. Honestly, I didn't even hit anything. I don't know why it's doing this. All right. Can hopefully it's on my real mic and you can actually hear me now. Sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, Riley's number is funny, right? Losing 4 strokes in approach, crazy. 0 lineups for Keegan. JT can't shoot another 62 or 64. Yes, he can. He absolutely can, Antonio. And I'm kind of counting on it. Yeah, LPGA props for sure. Do I like Minwoo Lee? I do, but not at like 25% ownership. Jump on the Keegan train. I'm not. You guys can, but I'm not. That's for sure. Thank you guys for letting me know. Hopefully it's fixed now. JT on fire, another 62. If I had to guess, 65. I think he has a good round. I don't know if he's going to shoot like a 62 again. I think it's kind of crazy. Lay off the whiskey, Luke. Yeah, I don't think it's the whiskey, man. It's this cord over here. If I even bump it, it just ends up unplugging. We've had 0 whiskey. It's actually a Coke over here. You're saying it's Vegas trying to silence me? God, they've got to have inside agents, some sort of malware then if they're going out there and doing that. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't changed anything up. My setup's the exact same as yesterday. It has not moved. And for some reason, it's not even just my mic. You guys saw the camera earlier was absolutely tripping out. It might even be StreamYard. Might not even be this cord. Might not even be my computer setup. Might literally be the streaming service I'm on. Euroboard. So we're getting everything but PGA board. How do I feel about Hideki versus Rory and a 2-ball? So that's plus 130. You're taking the plus money side. It's not that much plus money though, right? And it's on a 2-ball. I don't know if I like that, Roman. I feel like you should be getting better than plus 130 there. I mean, Rory's world-class top 5 player in the world, really good form of late. I would probably fade that. I probably wouldn't bet anything there, Roman. It wouldn't surprise me if Hideki won. But I feel like if you're betting against Rory McIlroy, you should probably be getting a little bit better odds than that. That's what I would say on that one. Let's take a look at this prop board. I know they posted something over here in Underdog. They've got what they moved Scotty to? I saw they took that down. They just took down the prop. Oh, they moved the Keegan prop. I liked them over 66.5, and they moved it already. Okay. They've got some guys at 4.5 birdies. Those kind of intrigue me. It's a lot of the guys that didn't hit today. So like a Matty Fitz here, right? Like he screwed me today. A Cameron Young, right? Like he had a horrible round today, but they're also going off earlier in the day, right? They're going to have the best conditions. They're going to have next to no wind out there to deal with. It's going to be tempting for me. So we're actually going to take some props later. We're going to see if they have pin locations up, which I'm hoping that they do have up there. And if we delay long enough, we can also get a prize picks board to use as a comparison. So let's see. Do they have up pin locations? That would be awesome. They probably don't, though. They've been super late on these. Yeah, doesn't look like it. If I had to imagine, pins are going to be a little bit more difficult than what we saw today. Let's see. Are they just removing props or bumping them? No, nothing going on with that Jason Day prop. I don't know. It's going to be easy tomorrow. We know that, especially early in the day. The unfortunate part with some of these earlier players is that they're out of form. So, like, I mean, Matty Fitz at 4.5 birdies, like a Cameron Young. These sort of players are top 50 players on tour when it comes to birdie percentage in this field, right? They're like top, especially for guys that made the cut, they're probably like top 20 players in terms of birdie or better percentage, but they're in nasty form, right? Like Cameron Young couldn't do a thing today. The guy was just absolute dog shit. Matt Fitzpatrick just can't make any putts this week for whatever reason. Isn't making anything longer than 5 feet. It's kind of tough to take their over. So I don't know if I'm going to jam these in. I'm thinking about it. I'm considering it. Let me take a look at how they hit it on approach today. I guess that's the real X factor. So first up, we got Matty Fitz. I think he finished at like -6. Yeah, -6 here, even par. In round 3, he lost on approach and he lost off the tee. That's about as bad as it gets. I already know how Cam Young played. He hit really well on approach, actually. Round 3, gained on approach, gained off the tee, lost 3.6 strokes with the putter. I have to say this, right? Round 2, lost 2.3 strokes with the putter. Round 1, though, gained a stroke with the putter. So for whatever reason, the last 2 days, Cameron Young's been dog shit with the putter. I can probably get to that, right? I don't think he's going to lose 3 strokes with the putter again. I said the same thing yesterday, right? I said he was one of my top birdie plays because he wasn't going to lose 2 strokes with the putter again. He didn't lose 2 strokes to the putter again. He lost 3.6 this time. So obviously, I was wrong there. But hopefully it doesn't happen 3 times in a row. I had a hard time thinking it would happen 2 days in a row. I have an even harder time thinking that's going to happen 3 days in a row out there. If Matty Fitz, we could probably find a better play. They've got Lowry at 4.5. I have to imagine he played better on approach. So let's take a look at that. Where's good old Shane Lowry? T33 at this point. If T Swinney's down in chat, I would love to take a look at the prop report if you're down there. By the way, because I'm wondering what the averages were for today. I haven't had a chance to take a look at the prop report. Slight gainer for somebody like Lowry on approach today. He hit 13 and I have 18 greens. That's decent. It's not horrible. I don't know. I don't love Lowry over 4.5. I don't love somebody like Matty Fitz over 4.5. I do love over 4.5 for Cameron Young. Like let's find his ranking this year for birdie or better stats. I'm almost positive it's top 15. I think it might even be top 10. So let's go over here to scoring. We'll go down here to birdie or better percentage and find Cameron Young's name. Cameron Young, right? Number 9 on tour when it comes to birdie or better percentage. So, I know, right? Played horribly. He could never play ball on Sunday. Well, he's going to have the best conditions, and he's a top 10 birdie maker on tour, right? Tell me that's not plus EV, right? For somebody that's projected, at the field average when it comes to birdies. It feels like a solid bet to me. I got you, bro. Antonio says, any chance the afternoon plays a little hard, or does the course have no defense? Yeah, honestly, I don't think it has a defense. Because of how much rain they got today, it was about half an inch of rain. That's not going to actually evaporate until at least 2 days from now. Tomorrow, it's still going to be plenty receptive. Morning wave, it's going to be like throwing darts in the morning. By the afternoon, it's not going to be as receptive as it was today, but you're still going to hit a ball, and it's going to have maybe one nasty bounce and then stop. It's going to be a lot easier than what you saw for rounds 1 and 2 when it comes to receptiveness. The only real defense that it has, Antonio, I would say would be the pin locations, right? The setup of the actual golf course, which they can play with it. They can try and, implement as many tricks as humanly possible, but I don't know if there's any massive defenses. I check Lowry's stats. Yeah, I just looked at him. Let's take a look at the other rounds, right? We took a look at his stats for round 3, but yeah, I'll give you an idea there. So today it was the short game, which the putter we kind of get, but around the green, it doesn't usually struggle there. Second round, it was mostly the approach play. And then for the first round, he played really well, right? He was bogey free, shot 6 under par. I don't know. There's not really one answer to that. He's kind of been all over the place. Don't love it, to be honest with you. Don't love the stat profile. That's why I'm not running to play his birdie mark here. I would definitely lean over at 4.5. Don't get me wrong. It's going to play super easy again. But Cam Young, he's excusable. Even though he's way down the board, right? Cameron Young's stat profile is okay, this just happens, right? He gained off the team, he gained on approach. Okay, that's kind of like Cam Young, right? He lost a shit ton with both the short game categories. Round 2, right? Gains 2 strokes on approach, loses a ton with the short game. Round 1, right? Is a pretty good player all around, except for off the tee, which, believe it or not, that's really surprising. So, I don't know. Cam Young, hopefully he snaps out of it. That's all I'll say, because how he's been playing of late, how he's been playing to this point in the golf tournament makes no sense. He's playing just like it's the Twilight Zone. It makes no sense out there. The Gala bogey free round today. Are you playing him? That's crazy. Yeah, I am playing him. I'm playing him for Showdown specifically, but I didn't realize he had a bogey free round. Is that right? 4 under par bogey free round. So I shouldn't be that mad at him, I guess, right? I was mad at him because he didn't do that well with the ball striking. I mean, look at this. He was bogey free and he lost off the tee and on approach. You know how hard that is to do, right? He was number 1 with shots gained around the green. If you're looking at today as a reason to place a hit the Gala, do not play him tomorrow. If you're going to place a hit the Gala tomorrow, like I am, right? It's because of his track record at this course, the fact that he loves Ben Poa as a surface, and he's only 7.2% out per my ownership projections, at least. So there are reasons to place a hit, but Antonio, I would not say that today's performance should be one of those reasons for you. He was kind of off today, let's say. Let's see. Are they moving anything? Would they move Sahith to there? They took his strokes line off. Okay, that's interesting. They got a bunch of guys at 67. I'm still waiting on Prize Picks. I feel like we're going to get some insight from that. If anyone has an idea on the stats from LPGA, I feel like we might be able to get them here. I thought they were on Data Golf, but it looks like they don't have them on here right here. Oh boy. Okay. Well, I just bumped my mic. I probably unplugged it, huh? No, looks like we're okay. I typed a P in there too. Come on now. I'm trying to look at this leaderboard. I know we were talking about the LPGA board over there in Prize Picks a little bit. I don't hate the idea of taking. So the leaders are like slightly under par. So it's playing like a U.S. Open. Okay. That's tough. Probably don't love the board then, right? There's probably a reason why they're 3.5 birdies. There's probably a reason why they're at slightly over par. Ugh. Yeah, unless anyone has a lot of insight there, can give me any layups. Probably don't love that over there on that side. So we'll focus on over here in Underdog. We'll find a few props that we like together. Who we nuking for the World Putting League champion? Oh boy. No, Jason, I don't love Ches. No, so I know you asked a little bit earlier about Keegan, Jason. I don't like either player really at all. The only reason to play them, right, would be for placement points. There are players, so both of those players, right, are a lot more expensive than they probably should be, and they're 2-3 times higher owned than they probably should be. Or honestly, like Ches, if he was out of contention in a Sunday Showdown, he'd be 1% owned, right? He's 30% owned. Keegan Bradley, right? He would be like probably 5-6% owned. He's like 35% owned. These guys are way, way, way higher owned than they normally would be. And you'd say probably as a counter, right? Like, oh, but they're getting placement points. That's if they finish at the top of the board. And those placement points are only worth a couple birdies. So unless you think they're going to go out there and like for sure make 4 or 5 birdies, then they're probably not the best plays on the slate. So yeah, no, I don't like them, to answer your question though. And I just wanted to give you the background there because I knew you asked about Keegan earlier. Those placement points for me tomorrow, especially at a birdie fest, don't mean all that much. Rory's annoying. He was +1 on the par 5s and still shot -4. Yeah, I think he's going to play well. That's why I'm playing him in my Showdown lineups. He, like you said, he didn't even take apart the par 5s and still played well. So I agree with you. I gotta find a way to get Fliff up here, Kyle. I don't have an account yet, but I definitely will look at it. Do I think Scotty can fire a 14 under? Absolutely not. There's zero chance in the world of that happening. You think he's gonna shoot at 56? You're crazy. Ugh. They had him at 65 strokes on here on Underdog, though. That was pretty crazy. Look, they have him at 65.5 strokes right here. If you had him at 55.5, maybe you can bet on that, right? You could have taken his over if you thought he was going to shoot 14 under. But no, dude, obviously not. You'd be crazy to think someone's going to do that kind of thing. All right, so let's find a slip to do for the stream. I have some research I'm going to have to do afterwards here. If we're looking at some of the averages for the field, I'd like to look at that too. So let me go ahead and bring up Data Golf, see what we're working with here. Here we go. Travelers Championship, hole by hole course stats. And unfortunately, there's going to be a little bit of dead air here, but I'm going to go ahead and add up the average for today. So 0.19 plus 0.27, that is 0.46. 0.64, 0.85, 0.95, 153, 173, 185, 2. Okay, so front 9, 2 birdies on average. That makes it pretty easy, right? We know it's at 2. So the back 9, 2.16, 2.35, 2.66, 2. I'm getting mind fucked here. 2.67 plus 5, 3.17, 3.18 is 3.38, 3.78, 3.86, 3.96, 4.04, 4.14, 4.14 plus 8 is 4.22, 4.42. So what we're looking at for an average. I mean, that's a lot of birdies. That's higher than round 2, I can tell you for a fact. Round 2 was like, I think 4.08 birdies on average for the field. And given that it's still going to be receptive for Sunday, maybe slightly harder pin locations, it's going to be 4 plus. It's something between like 4 to 4.28 or whatever we had for today. I may have added that up incorrectly, but it shouldn't be off by very much. We had 2 birdies on the front side, slightly over 2 birdies on the back side, which makes sense, right? 13, 15 are really easy birdie holes. Every hole but 1 on the backside played under par. Everyone but 2 holes on the front side played under par, and they played 1/100th of a shot over par. That's pretty crazy to me. Chad Ramey shot -4 bogey free. Yeah, I played him today, Antonio, and I played him for 4-round stuff. So he's the nuts for this week in general. Scotty is still sneakily having one of the best ball striking streaks. Yeah, I agree. That's why I'm riding him for last round for sure. Let's see. I think you should have 14 under? Hell no. You put 125 on a Scotty outright. Yeah, I took him for $2,000 pre-week. So I would hope that he wins tomorrow. That's for sure. Cam Young over birdies and Sahith under 75.5. Yeah, I don't hate the Sahith under strokes either, right? Like he was pretty clean today with the scorecard. Unfortunately, they have him at 5 birdies, right? That's why you're looking at the strokes. Yeah, right. They got him at 5 birdies. I don't hate that. Let's see. Who else is at 67.5, right? Just to kind of like line shop a little bit. Lowry, Fitzpatrick. Like, I don't hate Fitzpatrick under. Like, I know he didn't play that well today, but Fitzpatrick, like, he could easily turn it around. You got Hideki. I don't know. I feel like Cam Young, I feel like such a fish for playing because I feel like every time I play Cam Young, he sucks. But you look at the season-long rankings for birdie or better percentage, and he's always killing it. Last year, he was rookie of the year, just absolutely went off. Like it's so hard not to play his props when he's being disrespected by lines makers. I just don't. Someone weigh in if you have an issue with the Cam Young prop. It looks like Mark likes it, but I feel like such a fish for doing it because he's just sucked. He sucked for like the last month. PJ released the pin locations at 7 your time. So, okay. Yeah, well, it's 7:48 here, so it should be out. I don't see the pins. I see the pins for yesterday. I don't see the pins for today, though. So, if you have a link to them, let me know. Maybe they're on the site. Not that I see. Let's see. Yeah, they're on there. I don't know. I don't see the pins for tomorrow. If you have a link to them, let me know. But I don't see them out there. Where are we at? JT at 67. Yeah, I don't hate that at all, Mark. Like he's a good around the green player too. Like he's good at keeping bogeys off the card. The issue for JT is like it's a 2-round sample. Like how much do you buy into him actually being back? I would say I'm more of a believer than most. I think I'm at 5.5 birdies. You know what? I'm going to try and find a few strokes props that we like here because I feel like some of these guys at like 67 strokes are not the worst idea. And if somebody just threw Wyndham at 67.5 down there, that's maybe not my favorite, but I do like a lot of the other players there. Literally made a 6-footer to make the cut just to do absolutely nothing. Yeah, Antonio, speaking of, let's have a chuckle here, okay? I just want to show you guys something with Cameron Young today. And honestly, this is going to make me play him, by the way, for birdies, just for full disclosure. Hole 1, he missed 6 feet 6 inches for birdie. Hole 2, he missed 6 feet 7 inches for birdie. Okay, so just we're keeping track here, right? Hole 16, he missed like a makeable birdie. Hole 14, he missed like a makeable birdie. He did birdie 17, but he hit it to what? 2 feet, right? He made a 2-foot birdie. Okay, congrats, Cam. He made a 2-foot putt. Hole number 1, he made it, missed another makeable birdie. Hole 3, missed another makeable birdie. Hole 4, how close was this one? 13 feet, missed that one. Hole number 5. Okay, well, he finally made a putt, right? It was 18 feet. Congrats. You finally made a putt after 14 holes, Cam. The par 5, he hit it up near the green and still couldn't get up and down for birdie. Good shit. Hole 7, hits it, misses the green, I guess. Okay. Bogeys that hole. And then 9, he hits it to 8 feet and then misses for birdie again. I mean, this guy he sucked. Absolutely sucked. So like that's why like I have a hard time like even putting him in this parlay, because it's like this guy was just absolute fucking dog shit today. And I'm gonna put like $250 behind him. Like abrasive is like I feel you. That's my mood right now, man. It's like he costs you so much money, but you're probably going right back. It's like hard not to, right? Like we had these averages up before. Do I still have it up? No, let's go back to I know I brought this up earlier. Like, how do you not want to play him, right? Like, how I know you agree with this, but like, how do we not want to play his birdie or better when he's 9 on tour this year, and this is for this season, right? This mofo Cam Young right here. This season, when he's been dog shit, he like hasn't even had any like top 5 finishes. He's still number 9 on tour in birdie or better percentage. What was he last year when he had his like breakout year? He was what? Number 6 on tour, like even better. So it's like, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I completely agree with you, bro. It's annoying. Yeah, hopefully they're on 15 minutes. 3 birdies give you a break. Yeah. Cam Young's insane. I don't understand it. Fitz 4.5, super good EV. I agree. All the 4.5s. Like, I mean, Cam Young especially. Like, when he's a top 10 birdie maker on tour, like I feel like I have to enter this out of principle. 67 strokes. And Cam Young's better. Yeah, you know what? This could definitely bite us in the ass, okay? But this is going to be the stream slip. These two right here. They're both plus EV, right? JT most weeks, so this would be a slam dunk, right? But like it's his first week, he's been looking decent. So that's why we're kind of sketched about it. And then Cam Young, right? Top 10 birdie maker in tour. Like if it doesn't hit, whatever, I guess. But I don't know. It gives me a weird feeling, but it is definitely plus EV. Where's Bobby Bombs? I don't see him. Actually, he was here early in the stream. I don't know where he went. Does Ricky Strokes at 67 look good? It looks like a little bit of a trap. I see what you're saying there, but it's probably a pretty good line. He's at 67 now, so hopefully that answers your question. 67.5 is probably pretty good. Hope you get some bogey props. I'm sure they'll post some. He's damned and damned if you don't. You're right. Cameron old. You're thinking you're back on Cam Young? Oh boy, yeah, we all are, I guess, because I just took him. I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably doing it too. Ches at 68. Do you think he has it in him? No, I don't. I won't bet on Ches. I don't know if I'd take the over, right? Because he's at 68 strokes, but I definitely cannot take his under. That's for sure. I couldn't do it. Any other gimme lines that are out there? It doesn't really look like it. Like I wouldn't even hate the under at 67 on Ricky Fowler, but probably not going to bet that. 66.5 for Connors. Oh boy. Like I want prize. Oh, they dropped it. Look at that. I was gonna say I really want Prize Picks to drop their board. What's Adam Scott at 60? So he is at 67.5. So he's a stroke higher. What is Corey Connors at? 67.5. All right, this is just a pure numbers play right here. I like both these two. I have them in my 4-round lineups. I'm playing them for tomorrow, right? Trying to kind of like hedge myself there. There's a stroke difference between the two boards there. So I'm going to take that. I want to take a look at some of these differences here. So the bottom of the board's at 67.5. What do they have Keegan at? Man, that's a good question, right? Good old Keegan, best player in the field, Bradley. Wait, do they even have him up? Oh, he's at the top. Okay, 67. What is he on Prize Picks now? Is he 60? He's at 67? Okay, that makes sense. Ches is at 67.5. Look at that. They took it off. Those bastards. 66.5 for some of the others. Oh, boy. I might have to take some understrokes over here on Underdog. But they got Finau at the same projection on both sites. They don't, actually. So if I wanted to get some value on Tony Finau, I could probably do so. I might consider that. Let's see what else we've got. They bumped JT already? No way. No, he was already at. I was gonna say they bumped it to 60. I thought he was at 67.5 for a second. I was like, "There's no shot they already bumping shit like that." But yeah, get those in quickly if you guys are waiting there. They're definitely quick on that shit. That's just how he is, Antonio. He sucks around the green. 67.5. Yeah, I think somebody else pointed it out too. It's probably not a bad idea. What's he on Prize Picks, right? Just to do some line shopping here. He's 60. Yeah, let's put it in our shopping cart at least, right? Tony Finau, he's 66.5. Like, I guess that makes sense for like elite tier players, but like not like Corey Connors, not like 66.5 strokes. Let's go ahead and lock this one. I don't know if I trust Scotty's putter, but I definitely think that he's got like a neutral round in him. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me now, guys. I don't know. The mic's been really stupid today. How do I feel about Connors versus Minwoo in a 2-ball? You got Connors at minus 115. Minwoo's a beast. So you're getting slightly plus money on Minwoo, right? Maybe plus 110, maybe plus 120. That's a toss up to me, bro, man. I don't know if I love it. Let's see. It's good now. Cool. Okay. Thoughts on Victor at 67 strokes? On Prize Picks, I'm assuming he's 66.5. Right? If I had to assume, right? Yeah, he's 66.5. I don't hate it. Honestly, right? I think it's going to play easy, right? I don't even think the afternoon's going to play all that difficult. Was he at 5.5 birdies, right? Kind of like you'd expect there. Let's throw it in the shopping cart. I don't hate the look of that. What's Ricky at on Prize Picks? Is he also just 67? Yeah, I would agree with that one. What is Cameron Young strokes wise at? 67.5. So they do have him at the same projection there. What about Matty Fitzpatrick? Wow. I can't, I honestly expected him to be at 67 strokes. So that's kind of surprising. Let's see what else we've got to work with. Yeah, what's Sanjay at? Does he even have Sanjay up for strokes? Yeah, 67. Yeah, it's only a 1-stroke difference, so that's probably not that crazy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't hate that Victor Bond. We'll find a pair for it here at some point. Hideki's different from Underdog and Prize Picks. Yeah, Roman. Yeah, some of it's getting muted for some reason. There's something going on with my StreamYard. Hideki's different. Let's see. $67.5. What is he on Prize Picks? 67. Like, he's playing decently, right? I mean, we just got to check the shots gained metrics, right? Make sure that he's doing it in a sustainable fashion, which I know he is, right? He hit the ball pretty damn well today. You can see gained 2 strokes in approach, a stroke off the tee. Yeah, count me in. We'll do that. The Hovland one's only a half stroke difference. Same thing with Hideki Matsuyama. But both these players are hitting ball decently on approach, right? Are keeping the ball in play, doing it in a sustainable fashion. I can get behind that for sure. Denny looks primed for a bounce back. I could see it. Like, I don't think he played as poorly as like his score would suggest. So if we bring up his shots gained, right? He gained on approach, lost off the tee. Okay, that's kind of his thing, right? But he lost with the putter. That never happens, right? Round 2, right? Gained a stroke and a half. Round 1, gained nearly 4 strokes putting. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think if you're going to take any of the chalk, that would probably be him. Surely Ricky doesn't have another round 4 blow up in him. Like the ... there. Yeah, I agree with you. He could definitely fall into that trap. Like Sanjay to win outright, that would be a hell of a comeback. I'll just say that much. What is he? He's 11 under. He's 10 strokes back. I don't see it, boss. I'm going to be frank with you. I think the guys at 14 under par are as far back as I would go. So like your JT, your Scotty Schefflers, your Minwoos, and that kind of players. I don't even think like Hideki at 12 under par, maybe even like Rory at 12 under par. I don't even think they can win this golf tournament. So I think you might be fishing a little bit too far there. Nuking JT outright. I think he's like one of the last few players that has a chance. Let's say that much. How's Finau been on approach this week? It's a good question. He's been really consistent. He's been pretty decent every day. I'll show you exactly how it's gone. Where you at, good old Tony Finau? I'm sure I've passed you. So today, he gained just nearly a stroke and a half. Yesterday, nearly a stroke and a half. And in round 1, he slightly lost. So kind of one nasty round, right? Round 1, he only shot 69. But you'd have to imagine that he'd get back to that ball striking upside. So pretty decent, would say, to this point. Let's see. On Prize Picks, are we going to add anything? Birdies are better. I guess I should have looked at this earlier. They look a little bit higher, actually, than what we have at Underdog. Justin Thomas, 5.5 birdies. What was he on? Yeah, 5.5. Okay, so I guess that makes sense. But holy shit. 5 for Ricky. What's Ricky over here on Underdog? Is he 4.5? If someone tells me that's something they do, they post Ricky at 4.5. No, 5.5 birdies. That's unfortunate. Let's see. What do they have Matty Fitz at? 4.5? Okay, they do. What do they have Jason Day at? 5 birdies. Okay, I guess I understand that one too. What about Wyndham Clark? Good old U.S. Open champion, right? Everyone's favorite topic of the week. 4.5 birdies. Yeah, so I don't know. There's not that much value on the birdie board. It looks very consistent between the two sites. In terms of strokes, there's a few guys that are 0.5 off, or a few that I took, especially the ones that were striking the ball well. But if you're looking to find like advantages between the two sites, there's probably not that much to be had. Like, what's Chez's line? 67.5? Like, yeah, not much to work with there. Camp Idiot's going to win this tournament. Yeah, I'd be okay with it. I bet his ass. So I'd be okay with that. Can I check Auberg's stats? Absolutely. He put on a master class today. I can tell you that much. In terms of shots gained in terms of your ball striking, gained around the green and lost with the putter. Round 2 was pretty much good with everything. Round 1, pretty much good with everything but the approach. Very well-rounded player, high pedigree player. I'm telling you, this guy's going to be a 9K golfer in the next few months. Yeah, kid's a stud. That's for damn sure. All right, that might be it for the live stream. I'm still trying to see if we can find anything on Prize Picks, but I don't really love the value here. It seems like a lot of projections are higher than they probably should be. Like, I don't know, the guys at 4.5, I guess makes sense. If we're gonna try and take advantage of any discrepancies, like what is Xander at 5.5? Like he's the same at both sites. What do they have? Some of these other guys like Cantlay 5.5, Rory 5.5. Like I'm pretty sure they're the same across both sites. Yeah, it's looking like it. So I don't know. The boards aren't fantastic for tomorrow. You can still take their overs, but 5.5 birdies, right? The fact that you don't push at getting to 5 birdies is kind of tough to swallow for me. If you're going to take anyone at 5.5, actually, let's look at the rivals board. I don't do this very often, but sometimes they post just some crazy lines over here on the rivals board. Let's see what you know what? Yes, this is one of them right here. Webb Simpson, legitimate pro versus Andrew Savoda. Give me Webb Simpson. That's not even a thought. Let's see. It looks like there's going to be some plays here, actually. They're horrible. They're horrible at these matchups. Like some of the worst. Like Auberg versus Herbert. Auberg's way better. Like way, way better. Connors versus Brian Harmon. Connors is a way better player. We're just gonna make this a big card. Keegan versus Chaz. Yeah, no, thank you. So out of these four, these are probably my 4 favorite rivals matchups. My favorite 2 is the ones we're going to take for this card because I don't love betting these matchups, right? We'll take this one out of there. That one's probably a little bit RNG. This top one's definitely my favorite matchup. So I guess it's between these bottom 2. And we're going to bet on the pedigree of Auberg, right? Just being the kind of player that I expect him to be. This is an understrokes matchup, right? I'm expecting Auberg and then Webb Simpson to go fewer on the strokes there. That's what I'm going to take there. First off, this top one, this Savoda guy is just like some random dude. So obviously I'm going to take Webb. And then Herbert's like a decent tour pro versus Auberg that I think is a superstar. So that one's pretty straightforward for me too. So we'll go ahead and take those. Over here in Prize Picks, I would like to add a card here, but really, guys, I'm struggling to find value on this board. It just doesn't look that great. Connor's 4.5 on Prize Picks. He's 5.5 on Underdog. Yeah, like we took his over at 66.5 on Underdog. Maybe we take his over at 4.5 on Prize Picks. In fact, that's something that I rode today and yesterday on Underdog, and I hit the over for. He was at 4.5 for both days, and he hit the over. So I don't hate the idea of taking that. Well, we'll at least throw it in the cart. Who do I think wins? That's tough. There's not really one guy I think that just wins. Let me give you 2 guys. I think that Cantlay has got a really, really good shot. I think that he's probably got the best shot to win this golf tournament. I think, and if I had to throw a few other names, JT or Scotty Scheffler. I think one of those 3 players, Cantlay, JT, or Scheffler, gets the job done. Based on just pedigree, one of those guys is going to go low. That's what I would have to guess. Yeah, this Prize Picks board, I feel like I'm probably going to, side towards these 4.5s. Like even Auberg at 4.5. Like I feel like if he was on Underdog, he would probably be priced a little bit higher. That's just my personal take on it. He'd probably be at 5 if I had to guess. Let's look at his track record to this point, right? Like what's he gone for birdies? Today he made 4 birdies. Okay. It's not that great. He made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then round 1, he made 4. So he's making some eagles, which I guess is helping his case out a little bit. But I still like him. I don't know. He's definitely projecting higher than the average. And the average, once again, right, for round 3 was over 4 birdies. So I feel pretty decent about that projection. So we have Auberg there. I don't hate the Connors over. Right? He's been pretty solid to this point. Russell Henley's been getting super lucky. I'm going to avoid that. Don't hate Thigala. Don't hate Fitzpatrick. And if I was going to throw in anyone else at that projection, it would probably be, let's see, how's Adam Scott been hitting it? I guess that's the X factor. Because I know Tom Kim has been decent, right? Even though he hasn't played that great. Adam Scott played well round 1, not since then. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's throw Adam Scott in there. Let's see. Has anyone got any hot takes down in chat for us? Doesn't look like it. If I was going to play in prize picks right now, my strategy for today, and again, I got to do some research. I got to look at some of the shots gained metrics, do my projections, but it's looking like it's going to be overs at 4.5. And it's not going to be everyone at 4.5, right? Today, I took a lot of overs at 4.5, pretty much the whole underdog board. It's not going to be the case here. I need players that have either played well at this golf course before or are hitting the ball well from tee to green at this point. And I know for a fact that Corey Connors is hitting the ball well from tee to green. I know for a fact that Auberg is hitting the ball from tee to green. So they would probably be my top 2 plays. But then after that, I mean, I know Fitz has been okay, right? He just can't buy a putt for his life. And I know for a fact that Thagala loves this golf course. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take Auberg and Connors as a card. We'll take them at $100. And then we're going to go down here and take the other 2 for $100 too. It'll be Thagala and Matt Fitzpatrick. So those will be the 2 cards we're going with for that side of the stream. Again, over here, a few cards that we went with, in fact, a bunch. So you can rewind, look at those slips that we were entering before, or check out the Patreon page here in a few minutes too. So that's all we've got for this live stream. Hopefully everyone feels a little bit more prepared for tomorrow. How's Minwoo been? Good question. We'll look at the shots gained. He's, at least to my understanding, been a little bit sporadic. So today, right, lost a little bit on approach. Yesterday, kind of did the same thing. And then in round 1, was pretty much good across the board. So I would say Minwoo, his shots gained to look pretty decent. Pretty, I would say good for his prospects. So I don't know if I'd worry that much about Minwoo. What I worry about him for DFS is the ownership. He's just like super chalky. But if you're playing props for Minwoo, probably pretty decent. He'll be the donkey play. I think if you play Ches or Keegan, assuming that you're going to try and win a large field GPP, I think it's a donkey play because I think these 2 guys, they're probably going to shoot like 2-3 under par tomorrow. They might even win the golf tournament out there, but they're not going to be on the optimal GPP lineup. So I would say Keegan, Ches Reavie, probably your donkey plays of the week. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up at this point. I appreciate everyone down in chat. We'll be doing all sorts of content for next week at the Rocket Mortgage, so make sure to keep an eye out for all of that. I appreciate you guys. I, again, apologize for some of the issues with the mic, issues with the camera. We'll give her a little check over after this. We'll try to figure out what was going wrong, and it'll be back at full speed for next week at the Rocket Mortgage. So best of luck, guys. Hopefully one of us takes down one of these GBPs here on Sunday, and I'll catch you guys for the content next week.